Hey folks, Jim Marshall from the 911 Training Institute. I'm glad you're back with me, joining me for episode 4 of 911 Resilience during the COVID-19 pandemic. I almost forgot the title. I'm glad you're here because we want to enter in and look at what are some of the other psychological stressors related to COVID-19. And while that might not seem like a lot of fun, and it's not, I agreed, the fact is it's kind of like forewarned is forearmed. And if we know what the challenges may be, we're not as freaked out by it, right? We want to move from sensationalism, but also ignorance to being savvy and smart and being aware. So the way that this thing plays out for us psychologically affects us physically and also affects our relationships in every domain. So let's just look at this list. Again, SAMSHA, who I'd referred to in the previous episode, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Administration of our federal government, has created an extensive list of these things. And I want to just identify some of these and then talk about them with you. So we left off at, what about resentment of people who might have gotten COVID-19 from you or think that they did? We addressed that, so go back and see that one, but I'm going to continue on now. What about the stress of just having to monitor yourself, right? And being monitored by others for signs and symptoms of the disease? That can feel intrusive. The time taken off of work, potential loss of income and job security. I made reference to that in earlier episodes. But, I want to suggest that you may be co-providers in your family. Both of you have jobs, so you both feel equal responsibility financially. But often one of us feels more responsible than the other, not because we necessarily are. And maybe we're the only one providing financially for our families. I think it's really important to be able to talk with someone again about this as well. If we have a partner, to be able to acknowledge the fear that we have about this, because that's a huge burden. So again, the emotional code is we go and we work this out. We don't just carry it within us. There's also the challenge of securing the things you need. It's kind of like you've seen the video of the roll of toilet paper, and it has like Monday on one sheet, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 sheets, 4 days. Right. Well, it's funny, but this thing ends up being more difficult than that as we have a lack of the goods that we're used to. And so we just acknowledge frustration there. Concerns about being able to effectively care for your children if you're sick or if you have others who are in your care. That is certainly huge. Uncertainty or frustration about how long you'll need to remain in the situation. Like, how long is this thing going to last? That's the biggest question in everybody's mind, right? How bad will it get until it's over, until we've overcome this? And then uncertainty about the future. There's also loneliness associated with feeling cut off from the world and from loved ones. All of this I'm reading directly from the SAMHSA resource that you'll find in the bibliography. Okay, so I'm not taking credit for the list. You'll find it in the bibliography. And then there's anger if you think you were exposed to the disease because of somebody else's negligence, right? When we see pictures of people in groups, we hear about people partying in different communities all together physically. It can be really, really distressing, especially, folks, when this moves to the level of losing people who we love. So these are huge emotions. It really brings us back to, how do you roll with your own heart on all this, right? Let me just make the distinction. If we can only be peaceful and we can only have happiness when circumstances are good out there, we're screwed, to be really blunt, right? I mean, we have to be able to do something with things that we can't control. So again, if you have that, you got to own it. It might be somebody else who caused the wrong, but how you roll with it, that is your choice. You do have power over that, and that's where we need to seek help. Likewise, when we move on from here, uncertainty or ambivalence about how to handle some of these situations, like about finances. There may be a use of more alcohol or other substances to cope. So self-medicating, if you can relate to doing that, look at where you're at, make a decision in terms of where you need to dial back and maybe set a limit for yourself. Maybe go alcohol-free for a little while if you know it's doing you bad, right? And then I just want to wrap up on this. Symptoms of depression, feelings of helplessness, hopelessness. When we have serious signs of depression, and especially if they include loss of appetite, weight loss, serious difficulties with sleeping, if we have suicide ideas, that's when we need to get professional help, folks. And I just really want to encourage you to do that. You have employee assistance programs. They can make sure that you get the support you need. Your insurance covers mental health. And there is definitely telemental health now that's available for us. You also have 24/7 support from the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. You can chat with them, not just call, right? Their number is 1-800-273 800-273-8255, 800-273-8255, or as many 911 if you don't want to call an SPL. I mean, they're great, but if you, for some reason, are not comfortable, try the crisis text line. All you have to do is write in help to 741-741. So you text 741-741 and then type in the word help, and they're there 24/7 for you. Okay, traveling along. In the next episode, we'll look at how can this affect this whole COVID-19 thing, affect our relationships in the 911 center, and what can we do about that? So tune in, and thank you so much for joining. Peace to you as you call it a day or you call it a night. Remember, if we're in this together, we can do well, especially when we practice a healthy emotional code. So see you in the next episode, folks.